Hey, I'm Cole Hawkins, and we're going to learn how to do a z-score like a boss. Okay, there you go. First, you need to learn some simple definitions and formulas. So first, there is the z-score formula. Is z equals x minus mu, which means mean, over standard deviation. Standard deviation is a typical difference or deviation between a data value and the mean. Mean. The mean is also called the average. You'll take each factor and add them and then divide by the number of terms. And that's the symbol for mu, symbol for deviation. First question. A normally distributed data set of 500 values has a mean of 35 and a standard deviation of 7, which is the closest to the probability that a value in the data set will fall between 42 and 46. So, slide this up here. Have it already worked out. First thing you're going to do is you're going to write your z-score formula, which is x minus mu over standard deviation. You're going to write that every time before you start the problem. Then you're going to continue and write your formula and fill in your numbers. So it's going to be 42, because that's your value here, minus 35, because that's your mean up here, and then divided by 7, because that's your standard deviation. And once we put that in the calculator, it will be 42 minus 35 equals that, divided by 7 is 1. So we're going to write 1.00. So then we're going to take 1.00 and we're going to look in our handy dandy z-score chart. So we're going to find, I'm going to come down here, 0.01, excuse me, 1.0, and then go over to 0.00, it's going to be 8413. So we're going to go 0.8413. Okay, so that's the first one. And then we're going to come down and do our second one. And it's 46 minus 35 divided by 7. Again, here's your value up here, your mean and your standard deviation. So once we get that, 46 minus 35 we get 11, and then we're going to divide that by 7. We're going to get 1.57, and we can stop there. 1.57. Then we're going to look that up in our chart. We're going to come over to 1.5, find 0.07, and it's 0.9418. So down 0.9418. And then you're going to take your two answers from the chart and you're going to subtract. The reason we subtract is because it says between and not greater than, less than. And so once we subtract them, we always subtract big from small, big, small, and we'll get 0.1005. That's our final answer. And since it says probability in our question, our answer will always be in a decimal form and not percent. Alright, good. A normal distribution has a mean of 64 and a standard deviation of 7. Our x values are 60 and 75. Find the indicated probability. First, we're going to write our z-score formula, which is z equals x minus mu over standard deviation. We are then going to fill in our numbers, which is going to be z equals 60, because that's our first x value, minus 64, which is our mean, over 7, which is our standard deviation. Once we plug that into a calculator, we are going to get a negative 0.5714. We're going to look that up in our calculator, or in our chart, sorry. And once we do that, we will get 0.2843 because it's -5 and 7. And then we're going to do our other one. So we're going to switch over to 75. We're going to do 75 minus 64 over 7. We're going to punch that in our calculator. We're going to get 1.57. And we're going to look that up in our chart as well. We're going to go 0.1. 0.15. We're going to scroll over to 7. We're going to get 0.9418. 0.9418. And we're going to take our two answers from the chart and subtract them. We subtract because it's between. It is important to subtract big from small. And once we do that, we will get 0.65 minus 8, 0.6578, and that is the final answer. We keep it as a decimal because it says probability, and we won't change it to percent unless it's asked for percent. A normal distribution has a mean of 64 and a standard deviation of 7. Our x values are going to be 45 and 65. Find the indicated probability. So first we are going to write our z-score formula, which is the same: z equals x minus mean over standard deviation. We're going to fill in our numbers. So it's going to be z equals 45 minus 64 over 7. And we are going to plug that in our calculator. That's going to equal -2.71. Look that up in your chart. And find -2.7, come over to 1. We're going to get 0.0034. And we're going to move on to our second one. It's going to be 65 minus 64 over 7. So 65 minus 64 is 1. So 1 divided by 7 equals 0.1428. Look that up in your chart, and it's going to be 0.1. Come over to 4. It's 0.5557. And then we're going to take those two numbers, we're going to subtract them, and that's going to be 0.5557 minus 0.0034, and our final answer will be 0.5523. We're going to keep it in decimal form because it asks for a probability. The reason we subtract is because the problem was a between problem, and we always subtract big from little.